morning. Today is October 15. Good morning. Today is October 15, 2025 in the Philippines. Uh, if you're listening right now, thank you for logging in and listening to this Facebook Live. Hopefully, I could also post this on my YouTube channel, so this can be reviewed by many people that who wants to know about earthquake survival. Now, good morning. What I'll be presenting right now with you is an offering for you to understand how to protect ourselves during, you know, an earthquake. We have been taught many times about this. We have heard many talks about this. We have watched many movies and YouTube videos about this, but there's something that is lacking because during the time that we would have an earthquake, as much as we know many things already, the problem is most of us, maybe me included, will also have a little panic attack. Well, that's normal. That's expected. So when we're out in the field already, when we are there during an earthquake, one of the problem is sometimes we will not remember the things that we reviewed, the things that we talked about, the things that we uh, we learned from school or from other sources. So what I'm presenting to you right now, I'm offering an idea with you, is a head-to-foot earthquake survival guide. Head-to-foot earthquake survival guide. So what does that mean? The head-to-foot earthquake survival methodology, which is I am espousing right now. This is the first time that this would be in public. I have never heard of such method expressed before. This is an original. This is an original concept I developed as an educational framework designed to help individuals recall proper survival response during panic situations. So recall proper survival response. It's built on the principle that in times of crisis, the only tool that we carry is ourselves, our body. Each body part becomes a symbolic and practical reminder of what to protect, how to act, and how to survive, to stay alive. This is a very, this is a very uncomfortable talk, but you know, somebody has to do it. I understand that not most people would want to listen to talks like this because it's scary, and sometimes you'd say, "Ah, you trust everything, you trust God, you trust, don't be afraid." But if you're not afraid with your life, ika nga sa Pilipino ay pag oras mo na, when it's your time, it's your time. But people depend on you. People would like to be with you still. But if in case you already gave up because you're saying pag oras mo na oras na, if it's your time, it's your time. Well, it's up to you. But for people who are still trying to protect themselves in order to protect the people that they love, this is for you. All the knowledge, principles, and techniques I teach right now is not opinion based. Okay, it is anchored on recognized rescue doctrines, evidence based safety protocols, and internationally accepted field practices. The things that I will be telling you are things that are these are not opinionated. Okay, this comes from me as an educator with a new methodology because we pedagogical approach on when a person is in stress, we forget things. But when you are in stress during an earthquake situation, the only thing that we have are our bodies. Each part of our body becomes a tool for you to be reminded of what to do. Okay? Who am I to say this. Am I an expert in this field? No. In things like this, nobody is a real expert in this. But I have completed the following specialized training. I've completed a basic medical aidman training, rope rescue technician course, water and search rescue training, and the Stop the Bleed course. We trademark registered under the U.S. Department of Defense. Right now, I'm also undergoing a structural collapse rescue course training. This is a 10-week training that I am putting myself into. For most of you who know me, not many of my friends, my colleagues, my loved ones, even family members know that I am a search and rescue trained personnel. Sometimes you don't want to brag about it because these are the things that you know, but you hope and pray that you would not be able to practice it in real life. But this is reality right now, and these are scary times. This method that I will be giving you is both scientifically grounded and pedagogically crafted, ensuring that life-saving knowledge can be remembered instinctively, even when fear and confusion takes over you. Okay? So what I will be presenting you is something that you could remember during times of crisis, during times of even times of stress. We have symbolic. Our bodies will become, our body parts will become a symbol of what to do, of what to perform, of how to survive. So we have, I have limited it already to head, eyes and nose, ears and mouth, the heart, the hands, and the legs and feet. Okay? So in times of crisis, what do you have? You only have our bodies. You forget all the things that we would try to remember. But when you hold your head, you remember, what should I do? When you wipe your eyes, you would remember these things that I will be giving to you. When you cover your mouth because of dust, you would remember the things that I will be presenting to you right now. When you put your hands in your chest, so there's the heart, the chest itself. And when you look at your hands while you're doing things, you'd remember what to do. Your legs and feet, of course. These body parts will become a tool for us to understand on how to perform basic strategies that we might forget if we don't put it in a symbol. So let's start with the head. So there's the head. What's in the head? The brain is in your head. So for you to remember, when you hold your head, when you scratch your head, when your head hurts because of an injury, hopefully not that grave, you have to think ahead. Head symbolizes you to think ahead, to plan where the nearest exit, safe zones, and sturdy tables to protect your body. Head means think. Do not just move up. You have to think. You must learn to become a ninja. What's a ninja? A ninja is somebody who knows his surroundings very, very well. So in the places that where you are in, hopefully you have already scouted where's the fire exit, where's the fire hose, for if there's a case that you would like to rappel, where's the nearest toilet where you can get water from, anything and everything that you think you need. Where's the available food area if you get trapped. You know, it's very uncomfortable to talk about these things, but it's an uncomfortable job, but somebody has to do it. Even I right now is very uncomfortable talking about morbid things, but we have to face reality. I don't want to say this is inevitable, but we have to face reality right now. So you also have to protect not just the skull, but your nape. Use your arms, bag, or any objects around you, hard objects around you as a shielding. because falling debris can kill instantly when you got hit in the head. So anything and everything that you have right now to protect your head, make sure that you have scouted them already. Even in the places where you have to run to, you know that there will be items there that you can make use of to protect your head, your nape, and your back. But head also head logical. Just try very much to keep calm and keep yourself collected. Panic clouds judgment. I can't say we shouldn't have to panic on those situations, but I myself might even panic too. But we have to remind ourselves to keep calm. A steady head saves seconds more, and those seconds means life and death. You have to have panic clouds your judgment. So try not to panic. Try not to panic. It's hard to do, but at least we should be reminded to try not to panic. Now let's go. All other things that you know of, you just continue all of those things. These are just reminders, body parts as reminders of what to do. If you have much more things that you know of, then just go ahead and continue and practice it. And hopefully, this session that we have right now would make you remember those things that you have already learned beforehand. So we go a little downward. Eyes, eyes. What do we do with eyes? We observe. We see things. No, it said that eyes see through chaos. So what do you have to do? What do you have to remember when you rub your eyes when you can't see anymore? So observe your surroundings. Observe your surroundings. Excuse me. I'm I'm a little coffee right now. Observe your surroundings. Identify. Do not just run. Identify what's falling, what's cracking physically. If you could see those things, where safety is possible. So before anything else, you have to know. You have to scout your surroundings. Where could I be? Where should I be in case an earthquake would happen? Now, what you have to do is to cover your eyes with your cloth or your sleeves during tremors, during those earthquakes. Sometimes there's not even given emphasis of. Dust, smoke, shattered glass will blind you. When you cover your body, your head, especially your eyes, with cloth, you can still see. Like, for example, I have a jacket with me. This is a black jacket. If I cover my face to protect my face from dust, from shrapnels of glass while trying to run, if you cover your face like that, you can still see through, because you can still see through the cloth. And this is a black cloth already, and this is a very thick cloth right now, but I can still see through. So if you can be able to remember that, to cover your face with cloth, with your t-shirt or with your polo shirt, while tremors are there, please do so. If you can still remember, it's very hard to see things if you cannot see things anymore, because your eyes got hurt because of dust, because of shattered glass. Remember, you can see light and see things through the fabric, and this is a thick fabric that I have right now, but I can still see through the fabric. Okay, this is not being taught, but please try to remember that as long as you can, as much as you can. Try to remember that. Look for movements. Movements means after shaking. When there's an earthquake, when there's a collapsed structure, it does not mean that in it stops. The earthquake stops. It's always the structure would also stop moving. No, sometimes it's holding on to a thread, holding on to a flimsy object before it falls down. So look for movements after shaking. In an earthquake, fires inevitably would happen. Falling wires. If there's no power failure yet, it can be a source of electrocution. So look for movements of things around you. Uh, Unstable walls also might fall down. So make sure to protect your eyes and look around you. Observe, 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 observe. Do not just run. You have to run, of course. You have to go out to the building as fast as you can, but you have to observe things, observe your surroundings before you make a move. Head first, head first. Okay, so all other things you just add to this. Okay, but I hope that when you touch your eyes, when you can't see anymore, you would remember to observe your surroundings, to cover your eyes with cloth or sleeves, or to look for any movements around. Okay. My wife is calling me. I just have to. It stopped already. Okay. I guess I could continue on right now. If you're listening, ma'am, since you're listening, please try to message me. Right now, I'm on Facebook Live right now. Wait. Mabs? Okay. It seems that most people can't hear me. Audio check. Audio check. It's enabled already. Check audio, please. Thank you for this. Check audio. Oh my. I've been talking for quite a long time already, and for 17 minutes already, and it seems that you can't hear me. Can anybody hear me now? Nothing? Oh my. Mic test. It's here. I can hear it from my Facebook Live here in my phone. Mic test. Mic test. I can hear. I can hear. Okay, I'll just have to speak a little louder. Put the volume down here. I think I'm having audio troubles right now. I hope I can still continue on with you hearing what I am trying to say right now. Microphone is on. Let me see my settings. Okay. Could you please write in the comment if you can hear me? If you can hear me now. I can't see. We can hear just a bit soft. Okay. I think I have to speak up a little louder. Okay, I'll put the screen closer to me so you can hear. Okay, I hope you could hear better now, so I could continue. Okay, please. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that. So please write a comment if you still can't hear it. Okay, I'll try to. We can hear it, but it's too soft. Oh my. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, I'll just try to speak a little louder. I hope we could get this through. Okay, now we go to So the eyes, observe your surroundings. Cover your eyes with your cloth, with your sleeves, with your shirt, and look for movements after the tremors, after shaking. So we go lower. We go to the nose. Now, when we understand, when we touch our nose, I hope we could remember that the nose is the only thing that we have, and of course your mouth, for breathing. Uh, so you have to cover your nose and your mouth with cloth to filter the dust and smoke. Remember, as I've told you before, after a tremor, especially if it's really a big one, uh, the problem that we'll have is inevitably there would be fires. There would be dust all around. There would be water because of the pipes are already mangled and destroyed. Uh, but you have to cover your nose and your mouth. Just like what I told you before, you have to cover your nose and your mouth with cloth. Again, this is a very thick black cloth right now. This is a jacket. But I can still see you through the cloth. I can see light. I can see my computer screen through the cloth. So you have to do that to protect your nose, to help you breathe properly. So nose would also mean that nose is used for smelling. Remember that you have to smell. You have to smell also. Smell for what? Smell for burning wires. There would be burning wires, especially if it's not yet a power failure. You have to smell for gas leaks. You have to smell for odors, like chemical odors, or you think that or gasoline or whatever you think that would be flammable. So these are secondary threats. We call this secondary threats. Uh, it might it might cause fire. So if you think you are in a place that has those smells, try to move away from that place because it might cause fire and you'll be there. You know, when you are when you are already in panic, you are trying to navigate your way out of the building or wherever you are, uh, your breathing would really be very very fast. It would be very fast. When you breathe very fast, it's also an impediment because when you breathe very very fast and if you don't cover your eyes, your mouth, and your nose, dust will come in. When dust comes in your nose and your mouth and your trachea, that would be very very painful, and you might not be able to breathe anymore. So please try to cover your nose and your mouth. But also, it's like what I told you before about head and trying to keep yourself calm. Please try to keep breathing steadily. Controlled breathing. Controlled breathing is a way to conserve oxygen in your body, and it would also keep you calm. Sometimes when you're angry, you try to breathe steadily. That's also a way to relieve ourselves from stress during those times, and would also a way for us to have a little more patience with the things that are happening, and for us to be able to think clearly. So nose breathing apparatus is the nose. So you have to try and think and remember to keep breathing steadily and keep breathing steadily. Keeping yourself breathing steadily helps you with your oxygen, the oxygen content of your body, of your blood, and you have to breathe filtered air. Remember to filter it with the cloth, with the things that you're wearing. Okay, all other things that you know about the nose and the eyes, just do whatever you think that is possible. Okay, again, if you touch your nose, if you can't breathe so much as much as you want to, remember to cover it with clothing. Okay. Ears. We now go to ears. Ears. What are ears for? Ears are listening for listening. So you listen for signals, you listen for instructions, listen for people, if there are people still around with you. You listen for rescue operations, if there are already rescue operations outside of the building where you are trapped in. You know, being quiet in situations like this can keep you alive, and it would save lives. Now, when you are when you're trapped and when you're in a situation where you think it's a hopeless situation, we tend to cry out, we tend to call, we tend to shout, to ask for help. But you know what? Later on when we talk about them out, do not scream continuously. Do not scream as much as you can, thinking that people will hear you. You know, when there's no people around, nobody can hear you. You will just be shouting so much, and it drains the oxygen in your body. So we understand that if you shout out, they can hear you, but try to also conserve your voice, to conserve the oxygen in your body and the oxygen around a confined environment that you are in. If you have anything in your possession right now that you can tap on, that can be used as a tool for you to make a sound, then do it. Do it continuously, and do not shout continuously. You should shout when you hear, again, ears, when you hear that there are people around. Now, I'm searching my pockets right now. What I have here a set of keys and a glass bottle with me. Now, what I can do is I can tap on things that would make the greatest, the loudest sound possible. So, where should I tap right now? I'm in this confined space right now. I know I have some lockers here, and this is actually loud. I'm not tapping it so much because people might get might get alarmed here. I'm still in school right now. I get alarmed here, and they might think I'm in trouble. But when you tap, don't tap, don't tap. Don't continue stuff like that, like you're knocking on the door. Please remember that when you tap, please remember that when there's a collapsed structure, it's very, very, very noisy. It's very noisy, and even if tremors are ended, there's still so much noise because the structures are moving. Like you hear the sounds like continuously. You can hear sounds like that's water gushing. You can hear sounds like creaking sounds because of the wind, if there's wind, and those are natural sounds that you would hear. So to be able to be heard by people around you, by rescuers, you make a sound that is unnatural. What's an unnatural sound? You make a rhythmic sound that is unnatural. That's a natural rhythmic sound. What should you do? Make a sound like you are playing along with a tune. So even if you're crying, even if you're very so afraid already, you have to tap a song. Okay? Maybe tap Happy Birthday. You have to tap it on the loudest part as possible. Huh? Why do you have to tap with a song? Because when people hear it, they would not be mistaken if that's just a typical collapse structure sound. That's a song. That's a tune that's easily recognizable. Or maybe jingle bells. Yeah. When people hear that, that's not a natural sound. So they will be able to recognize, oh, there's a person here. So when they start to ask, is there somebody here? Could you please shout? Could you please tap a little louder? Then go and shout. Shout as loud as you can. Now do an effort to shout. Even if you're already tired and sleepy and in pain, make an effort to shout loud. And then if they heard you and they said, okay, we know where you are. Please stay there. Don't worry, you're not alone. Uh, So should you do? Stop shouting. But you have to tap regularly. You still have to tap regularly, even if you stop shouting. Why? So that they would know that you're still there, that you're still okay. And what if? Just think of a scenario. A rescuer would always try to find ways to rescue people. But if you are trapped in a confined environment now, and there's something that's happening around where they're much needed, they might run through that place already. And if they if they haven't put any markers where you are, like L1, they have not put any markers where you are, they might forget you. Or the rescuer who recognized that there's a person around, might not be able to come back as much as he wants to. So continue on. And then when there's people, you shout again. Are you still gonna help me? I'm okay here. We're 5 people here. I don't know what you have to say, but you communicate with them. Ears, same as mouth, is used for communicating. So communicate, communicate, communicate. But avoid unnecessary noise. Avoid unnecessary noise. Conserve energy. Let rescuers hear faint sounds. Avoid unnecessary noise. The necessary noise that you have to continue on is a tapping sound. But when they assure you, okay, please don't tap anymore, so we can hear any other noises. We know that you're there. You're gonna be safe. Then stop. Listen for instructions. When they're giving instructions, you listen, 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 and follow their instructions. Those are the ears. Okay. Again, if trapped, do a rhythmic pattern sound. Okay, not a regular natural sound that may happen. Okay. Again, all other things that about the ears and about communication that you know of, just continue doing that. Just follow what you have learned before. Now we go a little downward. We go to the mouth. It's like what I said earlier. Do not scream continuously. Shouting drains oxygen in your body. Even if you're not trapped in a confined space with very, very less oxygen available, it drains your energy. So please try to remember not to do that. Call out only when you hear that there are rescuers around or nearby. Use clear phrases like help, help, I'm here, help, one person here, I can see you. Help. You voice out. You also communicate with very, very clear phrases that they would understand. Okay? So just to say also, you have to use your voice wisely. You know, Using your voice wisely means that you shout whenever it is possible to shout, and you have to shout. You talk whenever there's a need to talk. But remember this also: when you are in a confined space, trapped somewhere, together with other people around, you have to use your voice. You have to signal your spirit. You have to tell other people that we'll survive, that we're here together. You have to tell other people that don't worry, I am still with you, we are still together. You have to put everybody's spirits up. Even if you're afraid, even if you're hurt, you have to liven up everybody's spirits. It's a very hard thing to do, but you have to do it. So use your voice wisely, use your messaging wisely. Okay? Try not to think of negative thoughts. Although you are already in a negative, precarious situation, please try to think not to think of negative thoughts. You talk about things that are happy. You talk about things that are funny with you, together with the people you are with, and when you get trapped. But again, conserve your energy. If you talk too much and it's draining you of your energy, just use your energy wisely, as much as you can. give people some pep talk of hope. Okay? Again, and any other things about the mouth to remember, mouth also means nourishment. If there's water around, especially like somebody told you before all of this, you have to know where you should run to. You have to know where's the exit. You also have to know where are the sources of food, where's the source of water, where's the sources of nourishment. If you get trapped near a toilet, if you get trapped near a water source, as much as possible, you drink as much water as you can. It's nah, dirty. You have to drink as much water as you can straight from the faucet. We don't know how much more water would still be there, because when there's a collapsed structure, the pipes will also break. When the pipes break, the only thing that contains water is from the actual pipe itself and not from the tank. So what you have to do is as much as you can, nourish yourself with water, because it would not last long, because there's a power failure. The pumps would not work because it's not anymore connected to the tank. The things that the water that you are drinking is is only coming from the pipes itself. So as much as possible, nourish yourself. Nourish yourself. Also, you have to know in your building where's I told you this already. Where there's food, where there's where mouth, where there's food, where there's nourishment. So think about nourishment also when you remember, when you hold your mouth. Okay. Now we go a little lower. We go down to the chest. Chest means chest, your heart, your resolve, your spirit of hope. So stay composed. Chest, your heartbeat runs so fast, but try to stay composed. At least try not to panic. Slow down your heart rate. Slow down your heart rate by breathing, long and soft. Okay, relieve yourself from exhaustion. Panic leads to exhaustion. So try to breathe as much as you can, filtered. Okay, filtered as much as you can, but breathe long, so that the oxygen content in your body is still at a healthy rate. If you have others with you, just like what I told you before, chest means you're strong, you're resolved. Leadership starts from the chest. Heart. Leadership starts from your heart. Courage radiates from your heart. Excuse me. You have to encourage others. That's what I'm doing right now. Comes from here. Sorry. You know what I mean already. Okay? You have to take leadership. When nobody's taking leadership, when nobody moves, when nobody wants to talk about morbid things like this, you have to take leadership. Sorry. You have to take leadership. Especially when you know things, you have to share those things. Okay? Chest. Courage. Even if you're afraid, even if you think nobody would listen, you're here. You're listening. Okay? So give each other hope, especially when you're out there. Okay? I'm sorry about this. Okay? Okay? So, let's continue. See, I also have to compose myself. I also have to compose myself. We're not yet in the situation. We're just thinking about the situation and it makes you afraid. So you have to compose yourself. Even now, I am trying to compose myself because these are the things that people don't talk about. I haven't heard that much who takes leadership to try and teach people as much as they can. I've been waiting for this for days already. I haven't heard anything except for from YouTube recorded videos. So you take leadership. Now this is leadership right now. Okay? So you have to brace your chest. Okay? Okay. You know what I mean already. Let's continue. Um, so chest, courage. Courage, leadership. Leadership, heart, prayers. We don't have to talk about it anymore. You already know that. Okay? Now, talk about the hands. You know, people, the hands are the only tools that you have during the situations. As much as possible, do not hurt your hands. As much as possible, protect your hands. As much as possible, maintain that your hands are healthy and well. If you can protect your hands in times that you are not using it, like you have a jacket with me right now, cover it. Cover your hands. If you are in a confined space, cover your hands. Why? What if there's a tremor again, an aftershock, and you have to cover yourself, and it gets cut? You're gonna have a problem. So as much as possible, if you don't have gloves with you, uh, cover your hands. Uncover your hand if you need to work on things like you have to make use of your hands as your tools, or you have to make tools. Just cover your hands as much as possible. Your hands could also be a cover for your head and for your nape and for your neck. Okay, your hands are your tools to cover your face for dust and particles. So your hands are a very, 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 very important part of your body in times like this. Use your hands purposively. Do not use your hands to create panic. Create signals for people. Move debris slowly with using your hands. Um, Again, as much as possible, protect your hands. Do not hurt your hands. Your hands should be used for lifting. Your hands should be used to touch other people and tell them they're gonna be fine. Use your hands properly, and please protect your hands at all time, because your hands and your feet are the tools that we the tools that we only have during these times. Okay, so these hands are shields, but you also shield your hands and protect it. What else? Covering. Uh, yeah, you have to touch. The hands are used to feel things. You have to touch walls, doors, or any metal objects, doorknobs. Uh, try to find, try to feel if the walls are hot, if the doorknob is hot. Most probably there's fire in the other side of that room. Try to feel whether something is cold. There might be water at that part. But remember, you have to make use of your hands and touching. Think about this also. Touch with caution, especially when you're touching metal things. You might get electrocuted. Okay, especially when power failure is not yet there, when the power hasn't failed yet, it's not yet browned out. You might get electrocuted. Okay, you touch metal objects, conductive objects, with a little more caution, um, more than the non-conductive, electrically conductive objects around you. But especially, make use of your hands to feel if there's heat, if there's something is cold. These are your tools. These are also your tools to knock, knock on things. Okay, so you have to protect your hands at all times. So knowing that, in your go bags, please have gloves with you. Okay, a typical motorcycle gloves would be fine. A typical working gloves would be fine. As much as possible, please protect your hands. These are the only tools that we have in our feet. Okay. Now we continue. You have to think of our arms too. When you're tired already, when your arms are failing you, so you would remember this. Arms, arms are there to stretch out to people, to touch people, and to make them feel that they're not alone. Okay? Arms are there not for you to be a superhero. Arms are there in order for you to lift people, to tell people, to reach out to them, that they're going to be fine and they're with you, that you both are not alone. You still have together. Arms are there to hug people around you. Arms are there to help your hands to carry things. But you know, arms are there in order for you to reach out to people. Okay? In your arms, you have sleeves. You use those sleeves to be a makeshift bandage. So it just so happened that I'm wearing a jacket right now. I could cut this and make this as a bandage if if there are persons around me who needs medical attention. Or if I could see with eyes also, if I could see anything, any cloth around where I am at, like here in this small room, uh, I can see an umbrella. I could make use of the umbrella cloth as a bandage. I could see some paper here. I could see some. I see many things here that I can make use of, and arms are there for me to reach it. Okay, so arms reach, get anything and everything that you can to be used as tools. Okay. Uh, what else? Sleeves. Arms are there also to people who are in need. But I will not be talking about first aid here. I will just be talking about survival for the first few minutes of survival. Okay? Now, we talk about legs. Legs is moving. The intention to move. So, don't run. You have to run, but don't run frantically. Okay? Runs, you have to stay low and stable. Duck, hold, and cover. No, you duck, you hold, and cover. You hold because you have to observe. You hold because you have to look at things around you, and you have to see if there are debris falling, if the ceiling is falling, if there are other items falling, if the, your escape route is still safe. So hands and legs go hand in hand. They go together. Sorry, eyes and legs go hand in hand. They go together. So don't run during while it's shaking. It's because you might not be able to see debris falling. But if you can run as much as possible, run nearest the walls because you still have something to hold on to. Or if you can run when there's something to hold on to, then go ahead and do it. Run as fast as you can if it's possible. But do not just run frantically. Look at your surroundings before you run. Okay? So after shaking stops, move. But be very, very careful. Remember what I told you before. Your hands and your feet and your legs are your only tools. Okay? So, watch out for falling debris. Try to move swiftly, but very, very careful. If you can also make use of your legs to tap sounds, to make sounds. Okay? Legs are stomping your feet, but do not hurt your feet. Do not hurt your legs, because if you hurt your body, you will not be able to move as fast as you can. You will not be able to move efficiently. Okay, so let's go down a little. Let's go to the feet. I think the feet would be the last thing that I would be talking about the feet and the toes, of course. So feet, feet. Know your feet is for you to stand up firmly. So know your footing. Know where you are standing on. Avoid broken glass, of course. Avoid nails and water on the floor, and weak floors. Avoid that. Please try to discern where you will step on. During those times, after the shaking stops, you watch out for falling objects, of course, but you also watch out for the things on the floor. Uh, as much as possible, anywhere you are in, you wear shoes. You wear good shoes. Starting now, especially for the men, for the boys, as much as possible, if you can, you buy some safety shoes for you. As much as possible, try to find a steel toe shoes. Even for now, you know, even for this scary situations that we have right now. For ladies who are not comfortable wearing men's boots, maybe on days that you're not in uniform, at least try to wear a comfortable shoes and shoes that have protection. Right now I'm gonna take off my boots. Right now I'm wearing a work boot right now, but it looks good. It still looks formal when we I'm not endorsing things, but I'm gonna be showing you. This is my shoes right now. It's a work boot, okay, and it has steel toe. That's it. When you run, remember when you see motorcycle accidents, when the moment that their feet steps on the ground, their shoes fall off, and their feet gets hurt. So as much as possible, wear shoes that are booties, high cut. So even if you run, your shoes will not get off your feet. Uh, as much as possible, as much as you can, wear shoes that are somehow athletic. So you'll be able to move, run, jump properly. Okay? So, excuse me, I'll just be tying my shoes. Okay, now, shoes. Do not be barefoot. Do not be barefoot. If you lost your shoes or your slippers, try to have a makeshift footwear. Right here, right now, I'm looking at carton boxes right here. I can make use of that. I am looking at papers here. I can make use of that. I could tie the paper under my feet so it will protect me. Okay, wear shoes as much as possible. But if you don't have shoes right now, during that time, wear some footwear. Okay, uh, feet are made. Feet are also used for evacuating. Uh, it means you know your path. Your feet are a symbol for you to go run and for you to have the discipline also to stay on that direction that you think that you have scouted before that is safest for you. And remember to not hurt your feet, because if your feet hurts, then you will not be able to move properly. uh, so I really would like to speak much about this, but it's going to be a long video already. And I know most of you are listening in right now, who are very, very interested about this, very interested for the safety of yourself and your family and your loved ones and your friends and your colleagues. Um, Please try to. I just, I just want to promise from you, as I give you a gift of knowledge right now, you also pay it forward. As much as you can, you also teach what I taught you. As much as you can, forward this video as much as you can to your friends and loved ones. Uh, I've been speaking in English for the past how many minutes already, hoping that this also would reach other nations or English speaking nations. Uh, Please protect your body, so you could help other people too. I hope that this method that I gave you about I have entitled this head to foot earthquake survival methodology. Head to foot earthquake survival methodology by Professor Gerald Abercos. Okay. Again, this is an original concept. I haven't heard this from anybody else. I developed this as an educational framework to help individuals recall proper survival responses during panic situations. Okay? Again, it is built on a principle that in times of crisis, the only tools that we carry are ourselves. These are the only things that we have. Our body. Each body part becomes a symbolic reminder, a practical reminder of how we protect ourselves, how we would act, and how to survive and stay alive. Okay? Again, all the knowledge and principles that I have mentioned to you and techniques are not opinion-based. It is anchored on recognized rescue doctrines, evidence-based safety protocols, and internationally accepted field practice. Okay? I hope this method of a head-to-foot earthquake survival guide would help you remember what to do during times of crisis. The only thing that you have is yourself. Again, your head, think and protect yourself. Think of the things that you have to do. Plan ahead. Right now, you have to plan ahead. Your eyes and nose is about observation, breathing, keeping your cool, keeping yourself healthy. Your ears and mouth, you have to listen for signals. You have to converse. You have to take leadership and tell people and give pep talks to people. Give high hopes to people. Same as your heart. Your hands are your tools. Protect your hands, your feet at all times. Your legs is about moving. Move as fast as you can, but as careful as you can also. Moving fast as you can is moving with a purpose, not moving in panic. Okay, this is already very lengthy, and I hope that this video would help you in this inevitable time that we have right now. Inevitable, I don't want to say it's inevitable. Prayers are still there. We just have to prepare ourselves. Prepare your loved ones. Prepare yourselves first. Because if you cannot prepare for yourself, if you cannot take care of yourself, how can you take care of the people you love? Again, you take leadership. If you haven't heard anything that could teach you, that could remind people, you do it. That's why I'm doing this also. I guess I have to end this video right now. It's already a lengthy video, but maybe I will do a snippet some other time to cut this video into little details, so it would be straight to the point when you are trying to review it. So I hope the message is clear. I hope the method is good enough for us to remember. I did not copy that method. I haven't heard that method. That's actually for me. Okay? And I hope and pray that the method can help people to remember how to protect themselves during and hopefully an inevitable big one. Okay? So thank you very much. Thank you for your time. It's 59 minutes of lecture. I think that's good enough. Share this video as much as you can. Share this not only for Filipinos, our countrymen, Like, you could share this to friends around the globe. People is not for popularity. Let's take leadership. You also have to take leadership by doing it yourselves, by doing some talks if you can, and take leadership also by sharing this to friends and family to your loved ones. Okay? So I pray that you would all be safe. I want this to happen, but I am not comfortable talking about this. I am really not comfortable talking about this, but I have to. Okay? So, thank you very much. This is Professor Gerald Abergos. Stuttering right now. This is Professor Gerald Abergos. This is October 15, 2025. Thank you very much for listening in. I hope and I pray that you also share this to your friends and loved ones, your colleagues, to all your social groups. Thank you very much. God bless us all.